Throughout history, gay rights has been a global issue, encompassing both civil and human rights for members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, and intersex communities. Individuals have had different prejudices about the gay community for decades. As with many gay causes, the issues polarize the community and lead to different campaigns, political stances, and even international viewpoints. A great example of an issue where all three elements played a role is gay marriage. All this has contributed to where the gay community stands today in current society. The bottom line, there is still a great deal of discrimination affecting the community, and with this comes both emotion and sometimes physical harm. Do not follow where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Making a statement outlines different viewpoints that can be taken into consideration, decisions made, and appropriate action taken. These rights should be applied globally, oppression lifted, and discrimination removed against the gay community. What is your guys' position on basically gay rights in society? Should it be legalized with marriage for same-sex couples?
I'm gonna go with yes.
Yes?
Equal rights.
Equal rights.
But I can't speak for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
I'm a fan of equal rights. I would say legalize gay marriage.
What have you guys witnessed with treatment among the gay community?
Here or everywhere?
Anywhere, just your experience with it.
I think it really depends on location. Here it's very
Here
very
it
open,
seems
very safe.
equal for the most part, except for the actual laws, which don't. How do you feel the lesbian or gay community has kind of evolved in their treatment since you guys have been living here?
Totally evolved. I mean, now you can. Well, I mean, I remember when when you turn 18, you have to sign up for the draft, and I remember it being so scary. I was a science student, and I excelled, so the military came to me and tried recruiting me to have lunch with my parents and stuff. And I remember when they started to interview me, I'm like, well, I have a boyfriend, and that was interview over. Bam, shut down. No more officer training school. We don't want you. Just because I admitted that and I'm comfortable with my sexuality. And now it's not like that. There's so much more acceptance across the board. And I think that with social media and access, people are seeing that there's more people that are, we're not that different, and it's everywhere. You look at our like drag queens, how they've evolved. They've really changed. And they're actually, if you look at every part of society, they're kind of celebrated. Everybody kind of likes a good drag queen, or you know what I mean? And you hear these stories of transgender people. I mean, we just had one who had a role on 30 Rock. It's kind of a celebrated thing, and it's come a long way, a long, long way.
Here in San Francisco, how do you think people are treated based on their sexuality that they present in society?
I would say that San Francisco has probably the best community as far as support goes for gay and lesbian and transgender rights and support. And then since I work in healthcare, I would say specifically there's so many great community clinics in San Francisco that are queer friendly and wouldn't discriminate. And I mean, even the littlest things like asking a woman if she comes in, to a clinic, asking her well, what birth control are you on, and automatically assuming that she needs to use birth control. A lot of queer women take that, offensively, since you're assuming that I sleep with men. I would say a lot of the clinics in San Francisco are really open and queer friendly. But that doesn't mean that everybody in San Francisco is.
Sexual trafficking is the recruitment and exchange of a person for sexual exploitation. Most victims are women, including minors, who are forced, threatened, abused, and in many cases forcibly addicted to drugs. The practice is a worldwide issue that must be addressed in global bodies like the United Nations, as well as within individual countries, to decrease the number of victims affected by this trade. It is also a very controversial issue. While there are no visible pro-trafficking groups, the issue is controversial in the sense that a segment of the population exists that will pay for sexual service from trafficked individuals. There are those closer to home than we realize that are engaging in the recruitment, exploitation, buying, and selling of these people. Sexual trafficking is among the evil injustices of the world and is corrupting the basis of human sexuality. In order to stop, the society must raise awareness and participate in stopping, along with legal action.
So how do you think people are pushed into the sex industry?
I think that a lot of, especially women who come to this country looking for work or looking for jobs, find it really hard to get jobs and to find homes and houses and really start to survive in this country. And I think a lot of the people coming into this country end up turning to sex work as a way to make a living. And a lot of these women don't speak English or speak very little English, so it would be really difficult for them to find a job, and they end up coming here and becoming homeless and living on the streets, and then they most likely will take part in survival sex or working as a sex worker in order to make a living, in order to be able to eat, and to live under a roof instead of on the street.
Do you think it's fair to prosecute women involved in forced sex slavery or prostitution even?
That is so, I mean, it's an industry, it should be choice, okay? It should be, we're not in a democracy when somebody can tell you that you can't do something with your body. And, you know, we have to separate the church with the state, you know, it's just like, it's not our issue. You know, it should be the person who's doing its issue. You know?
That's just laziness on the account of the police force, really, because it's easier to arrest and put charges against the sex worker than it is to the pimp or the client. That's really all that is. I mean, and they even admit that. They even say that's really, you know, that's the only, you know, because girls are willing to give up their pimps or whatever.
The law enforcement it's a very tricky situation and a sensitive situation. I mean, I don't think a lot of these women love that they're working as sex workers. But I think it is something that they're doing in order to survive, and if this country really took care of the people in it, especially the low-income community, and I think in San Francisco on any given night there's over 12,000 people who are homeless and sleeping on the streets, so there's a lot of homeless in San Francisco. And that includes people who are marginally housed and living in the single-room occupancy hotels. Because a lot of those people will stay there maybe for like a week, and then the next week they'll be on the streets, and then maybe they'll get paid and then be staying in there, and so it's a cycle. It's definitely a cycle.